What's going on? It's Lance Hayes with Sports Social Live, and today we will be talking more about the Week 5 battle of the Texans versus Bills. This and more on Sports Social Live. Let's get it. We have another exciting game coming up with the Texans versus the Bills, and just ecstatic to see how the Texans are going to stack up against AFC top contending teams. I am excited to see the Texans, who are 3-1, versus the Bills, 3-1, led by two dynamic young quarterbacks. If you remember, and we posted this on our page, the Texans were crucified 40-0 in 2021 by the Bills. And that was kind of one of those games where you even saw Mitch Trubisky get active against the Texans. I want to see the Texans do better this game and come out with a victory and finally put together 3 phases of football. This is the game that we will need to see that. In this episode, we'll discuss Mixon. We'll discuss if he's going to be missing in our game plan. We'll also talk about something Tank Dell. We'll discuss a little bit about the Texans secondary concerns and some Diggs talk. I'm excited for this game. So let's keep it going. Like, subscribe, share. I'll keep my content flowing as much as I can here from Japan. I'm Lance Hayes with Sports Social Live. So missing Mixon is a big thing for us. We are missing the impact from him as a running back. When Mixon is rolling and running, the offense is hitting on all cylinders. We had a taste of that in week 2, when Mixon was just going crazy, 159 yards on almost 30 carries. I like to see Mixon in the lineup. I like to see what he does for our team. The offensive line seems to be stagnant without the spark. When the running backs, Cam Akers, JJ Taylor, everybody comes off to the sideline, what is the first thing they do? They go and talk to Mixon. They go and say, hey, what's up? I just did that. Did you see that? That is a polarizing figure. That is somebody that you need on your team to lead your team. And I'm excited to see if he'll be coming back. The earlier morning Twitter reports were saying that he was not active in practice. So that is a little bit of a negative for me. But having Mixon on the team is going to be a great thing. I look forward to seeing the chess move, or just how the Texans kind of maneuver with New England coming up. New England's not a Buffalo. They're a tough, gritty team, but they're not a Buffalo. So will you just limit his play time this game? What will be the strategy with just working Mixon back into the game? I'm excited to see that, especially with this quarter of football. Okay. And also, just to expand on Mixon a little bit more, I don't know where he's going to kind of fit in an offense being limited. So is it better just to have him healthy, 100%, or as close to 100% healthy as he can possibly be? That is how I like our team to run. I'd rather be smart earlier in the season and get these people as close to healthy as possible than later that have a lingering injury persist throughout the season. So that is what I'm watching with Mixon. That is what I'm watching with everybody who gets injured on our Texans team. There's a lot of reports coming out with a lot of injuries, so it'll be nice to see. Going forward, we will be discussing a little bit more about injuries with Tank Dell. Tank Dell is going through a little bit hell chest-wise, so it'll be interesting to see what he'll do this game. How will we work Tank Dell into the game? He's highly regarded. CJ Stroud likes what he sees from Tank Dell, and you also see that Tank Dell has a spark from that number 3 receiver spot. So when I look at Tank Dell, I like his speed and play ability, like his ability to make those sparking plays and explosive plays that put defenses in such a drought. That's what you get from Tank Dell. Will he be able to kind of do something different to span this test of time? He's injured, he's hurt. I want to see Tank be healthy out there, but I know that we need him to defeat this high-powered Bills team and to just stifle their defense. That's what we need. Their offense is going to make plays, but we need to make these explosive plays. And it'll come from that three-headed monster receiving core. And hopefully we'll get a healthy Mixon back to kind of round out our offense. Also, Tank Dell in the punt return game is not talked about much, but I think that he'll be a solid punt returner for our team if he's healthy and can go. He won't be dropping the ball like our punt returner last week. Tank Dell is a key piece to our team that I believe that we need out on the field. I think we need all Mixon, Tank Dell, Stroud, those key pieces need to be on the field. But Tank Dell is one of those X factors for the Texans, and I feel like we need him to stifle the Buffalo Bills and put pressure on that Buffalo Bills defense. Speaking of defense, I think the Texans defense and that secondary will be tested this game. You saw it last week, and each week Petrie has been in the blender. Sometimes he's been doing great, but he has been put on the spot to make big plays. The Texans defense, the defensive secondary is questionable. It's iffy. They bend, but don't necessarily break. So Tank Dell, he's dynamic. He's healthy. He's putting pressure on the defense. Our Texans secondary, if our Texans secondary is able to smother the Josh Allen explosive plays or extended plays and keep up with those receivers, we are going to be in business. And that's what I like to see from our Texans, our Stingley being out there. Hopefully we have a healthy Jimmy Ward. If not, he needs to be on the sideline. I can't have Jimmy Ward out there kind of slowing down the defense. I would rather play the young, healthy guys than a hurt Jimmy Ward. I don't want to see Jimmy Ward just out there hurting the team and just putting us in a bad spot. He's a great player, love the guy, but I don't want to see Jimmy Ward just getting burned out here. This is not what I want. This is not the game for that. Come back against the Patriots, come back later on in the season healthy, but this game, leave your young studs out there who will be able to kind of defend and do better. Jimmy Ward, I can pass on that one this week if he's not healthy. If he's healthy, put him out there. But if not, he has to come back in, and if not, leave him on the sideline and have him clapping hands and put it with the hat on the sideline. Those new colors that they're wearing this weekend as well. So hopefully they establish themselves in these new uniforms and Jimmy Ward is healthy. But the topic that I really like seeing in the storylines, if the NFL is going to write storylines, I'm tired of seeing Taylor Swift, but I do want to see storylines about Diggs. Players going back to their former teams and having games is a better storyline to me than Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce will ever be. I like seeing Stefan Diggs in headlines. I like seeing former players go back, but I do have questions about how these former players go back and how they play. I have questions about what they'll do, the emotions that they'll carry when they play their former team. A lot of times when you see these former players go back to their teams and play, they do carry these emotions. A majority of the times, they're going to get those 15-yard penalties because they're just so amped up. They're going to make plays. They're going to ball out, but they can put you in a bad spot if they're not having the best game, or if they have too much fun in the game, you might get one of those random calls, being fired up. And I also question, as being a former football player myself, sometimes I just don't care that you played for the previous team. We're here now. Let's battle. That storyline, it could go multiple ways for the Houston Texans. So I want to see how the team deals with the built-up emotions and energy from Stefon Diggs. I also want to see how they're going to do when, of course, Buffalo is going to play hard. Every tackle, every play against Diggs is going to be a dig at Diggs. And I want to see how they're able to cope with that. I want to see the Texans come to his defense and uplift Diggs and see what he does. So in his first game against his former team, that's the Buffalo Bills, I want to see what he does. He's friends with Josh Allen. So see how they try to kind of just pump each other up. Is he going to pump Allen up? You don't poke the bear sometimes. So will he do that? I'm excited to see what they do. So that emotional element, that the fire in this game will be there. And that's a storyline that will probably be talked about too much during the game. I definitely don't want to hear it all the time, but it will be talked about. And this game is also big for playoff positioning as well. So I'll go into that a little bit more as the week kind of progresses. But this game is important for playoff. We have to battle the AFC teams tough to make the playoffs in a fashion that we want to make the playoffs in. Diggs is a key player. He has to be successful. We have to bring back Dell healthy, and we need a healthy Mixon. So these three kind of figureheads on our team have to be 100%. They have to be hitting on all cylinders, and we need to get a victory for the Texans. But going forward, we'll just talk a little bit about the betting odds. The betting odds are going this way. They were earlier in the week. They were kind of tighter for the Texans. They're still tight. They're giving Texans a little bit of the home fever. The Buffalo Bills do have some injuries. They're banged up, but the Texans are banged up as well. The injury report that just recently came out, we'll talk about that in the following video, shows a lengthier injury report for the Texans. So how will they kind of both teams overcome these nicks and knacks that they do have? The Texans will be kind of vying for playoff position. This is the chance for the Texans to push themselves forward in the AFC South, which will push themselves forward in the playoffs. And we can talk about the playoffs later, but the Texans have to come out here swinging. They have to get out. So the over and under on this game is 47. Early in the week, I said under, and I'm going to maintain the under. I believe that the Texans are, with Bobby Slowick, we're going to try to put some slower drives on the board. They're not going to do long drives. They're going to try to stifle and keep the Bills' offense off the field. And that Texans defense was going to have to get after Josh Allen. They might make the quick plays, but I believe the Texans will be a little bit more methodical with earlier first-round runs, especially with Mixon, and will be that methodical 25-plus rushing offense, 30-plus rushing offense, and that's kind of where they want to be. I think this week with the betting lines, you'll see them kind of move a little bit. I think it should be a little bit more in favor of Buffalo, to be honest. But hey, there will be value in the props. There will be value in the props. If you're smart, I think tight end play will be the value. So look out for those prop bets, but I'm going with the under, and I will swing with the Texans here. There's a lot of energy going for the Texans. I think this is one of the games that the Texans will put all three phases of football together. I'm Lance Hayes. This is Sports Social Live at Sports Social Live TV. Thanks.